line and circle are big. On the wall, the line and circle are huge.
The line and the circle are big. On the wall, the line and circle are huge, which is to say, the line and circle are the capacity in the human species to represent, to symbolize experience. Then on the wall, the line and circle are huge means once man begins to understand that, in other words, if I'm trying to go like this, if I come running back around the corner and I go like this to the other people in my cave, what I'm saying is there's a big motherfucking bear and he could kill you. So that isn't that much of an advance. If I can draw the bear with the line and the circle on the wall in the cave, what makes that huge is I begin to feel as if I have some sort of power over danger. My capacity to represent initially is simply saying there's trouble over there. If I create a sort of mystic pattern, if I go in, you know, did you ever see the cave drawings at Altamira, you know, with the bulls and all of that stuff? That idea is wherever a bull may be, if I make this drawing, I am protected from him. So the ability to generalize from a specific physical danger and just represent separate from the danger begins, that's what makes the line and circle huge.
On the wall, the man at the wall makes a man from the circle and line.
So what he's saying is, not only can he begin to represent the world, but in art, he can represent himself in connection with the world. And that's the beginning not only of religious ritual, but of storytelling.
The man at the wall makes a word on the wall from the circle and line. The word on the wall, here's my father.
The word on the wall, here's my father. Which is to say that whoever has sent John begins to become aware of us as a species when we begin to generate art. What John is trying to teach Cass, and it's sort of fundamental to the idea of the series, is the zeros and ones make the word in Cass's camera. Film is another way, besides the circle and the line, the zeros and ones that make film are a way to communicate with God. In the word on the wall that here's my father in Cass's camera, the good one Mitch catches doesn't wipe Sissy out. In the word that here's my father, Sissy shows Butchie something else rather than jerking him off. In my father's word, Sissy shows Butchie in Sean. She gets a second chance to be a mother. And what all of these things, in my father's word, Tina raises Sean at lunch. Rather than taking 16 years, she can accomplish all of that just in those moments. In Cass's camera, Butchie lays the cord out for Barry, and Mr. Rollins watches and doesn't come in Barry's face. In Cass's camera, Butchie knows that Kai kept the faith. In my father's word, the wave lifts them up. So what he's saying is that the opportunity to experience emotionally, separate from the lived experience, the opportunity to see the story, as opposed to having to live through it moment to moment, gives us a chance, gives us a second chance at making the story come out differently. Now, all of that he is trying to teach Cass as an alternative to what commerce has been teaching Cass about the purpose of art. That's why it's kind of crucial that you be outside, kind of listening to him. His gaze rises from the accomplished inscription to the spiral staircase formerly seen in Bill's house, which is now in the grassy area. That's an effort to suggest the capacity of art to reorganize experience, to reorganize our sense of reality. So that Bill, who feels that I can never go upstairs because that's where my wife died, and who keeps smashing his head every time he even looks at the staircase which connected him to his wife. Now, through the power of art, through the joy that he gets from playing his harmonica, which we'll find out in a later episode, begins to heal. The wave that goes on is that, you know, Bill was a cop and Freddie's a criminal. And every prejudice that we have about the provisional, superficial identity of another person separates us from them. So he's a waiter, he's a Mexican, she's a prostitute. All of those things keep us from being able to harmonize. So Freddie is called to come over and play, and the fact that the bird sent Bill to make friends with Freddie earlier prepared Bill to go up the staircase to re-encounter the passing of his wife and not fetishize it so that there are certain things I just can't do anymore.
In Cass's camera, Bill doesn't bump his head on the stairs.
I cannot do this. I cannot do this. I am skating on very thin ice.
I'm skating on very thin ice. That's an echo of a poem by Stanley Kunitz, where the poet says, in times like these, the heart breaks and breaks and lives by breaking. Telling yourself you can't do it is the way to get yourself up there to do it.
In Cass's camera, as long as he's being stupid, Bill gives Lois a kiss.
Now that echoes what Bill said to Zippy in the first episode when he told Zippy, give the kid a kiss as long as you're being stupid. And in the next episode, when he brought Zippy to revive Sean, he says, give him a kiss as long as you're being stupid. He's already begun to intuit that there's some sort of healing incantatory power in it. So what John is now saying is in art, the reconstruction of experience, the reconstitution of experience does not have to be fetishized. It does not have to be what they call spiritual materialism. It can simply be a healing. At the top of the staircase and so on, Bill puts his lips to harmonica only to immediately lower the instrument as below, Freddie resumes his assault on Rogers and Hammerstein. Bill's last prejudice is, well, if that's a criminal, I can't be the full forgiving soul I am. I have to be a cop. And that stops everything, the idea of our separateness. And John extrapolates from that idea of separateness, which is the cop and the criminal, to, in his word and Cass's camera, the internet is big.
9/11 is big, but not every towel head is eradicated.
What he's saying is that one of the ways that we separate ourselves is not just cop from criminal, but that technology makes everyone feel different, each from the other, and that the other is simply an object to be manipulated for either sexual fetishism or gambling or whatever. The theory that John will expound is not that 9/11 itself was such a horrific act, but that our technology has magnified, because we feel so alienated, having given ourselves to our technology, seeing those planes fly into the building, not the actual death of the people, but its effect on us because of our access through technology to every horror everywhere in the world. The natural response to it is, I don't want them on my television screen. Kill every one of them, which is his prediction of the genocide to come, that our technology is that the next time a plane flies into our building, the American public and the modern public will bless the extermination of an entire race. So what he's saying, which is the Muslims, in his word, in Cass's camera, the internet is big, 9/11 is big, but not every towel head is eradicated. What he's saying is you people have been gathered to change the course of history.
In his word, we are coming 9/11-14.
He's saying that we have 7 years and that you people will discover that it's your task through the humanizing of your contact with everybody. And if you multiply 7 times 7 times 7, you can A lot of people can meet a lot of people in 7 years. However reluctantly, Bill has begun to play his harmonica. In my father's word, Bill sees how Freddie relaxes, so that in that image is the image of the healing of every spirit who feels itself separate from any other spirit. As Ramon collects the plates, scraping uneaten food into a plastic bag for later distribution, in Cass's camera, Ramon wants to know who's hungry. He's kind to those we know. In the courtyard and room 45, which is where Ramon keeps the kids that he smuggles up from Mexico who have cleft palates from toxoplasmosis, who he feeds until he can get them operations.
My father's word to come in Cass's camera, Dr. Smith calls Ocean Properties.
Dr. Smith is going to find his place in the motel by confiding in Ramon. As long as you're here, maybe you could help these kids. And in the aftermath of that, Dr. Smith goes across the street where he sees that clinic available for rent, and the renting agent is Ocean Properties. So that's what he's saying there. In Cass's camera to come, my father stares not Aliman down. The reason not Aliman is here is he sees that John is alive and comes and has a spiritual conversion. He regrets what he did. And Freddie sees Bill much improved, which is the healing takes place in both directions.
You will not note my father's word, nor remember Cass's camera, but you will not forget what we did here.
He takes on, in order to help them forget, we confuse every voice of authority of every kind, the religious voice, the political voice, the paternal voice, and in order to help to confuse them, because he doesn't want this to be a matter of conscious memory, he wants it to be a change of spirit. So he starts to talk like Abraham Lincoln in the Gettysburg Address. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it will remember what they did here. So he imitates that by saying, you will not note my father's word, nor remember Cass's camera, but you will not forget what we did here. And the reason that Mitch and Sissy and Butchie and Tina Sean are posed for a family portrait is not that they're really going to get together, but that there is a place where they are already together. In the movement of the spirit, every family is reunited.
Want to go look for the Space Commander?
He doesn't realize it, but the reason he says Space Commander instead of John is, through John, we're going to go look for the Space Commander.